He said, what media is going to be interested in a 9-year-old Rottweiler giving birth to 6 puppies? I say, if you say it that way, none. But that's not what the headline read.
I am a grown woman who works around animals and is around animals all the time. And I stuck my face in that German Shepherd's face. And guess what? He went.
Well, the education center that are opening is for children. We have 2,500 children that come here. They go to camp here. They learn all about sharing the earth with animals.
Hi, guys. Welcome to season 2 of Buddies Besties. We're thrilled to be here talking to you guys again today and bringing you guys some really interesting people in the pet space. Today, I'm joined by Mike Arms, and he heads up the Helen Woodward Animal Center. And I'm so thrilled to have you here, Mike. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm so excited to talk to you about how you actually got involved with the Helen Woodward Animal Center. So can you tell me how you found it and why you're passionate about it?
Well, I've been working to help animals my entire life, pretty much for almost 60 years. Wasn't my intent. My story goes that I was born in Kentucky, grew up working on a farm, and the one thing I knew I didn't want to be was a farmer. The work was too hard, the pay was too little. So I had a long talk with my dad, said, that was your life, not my life. I want to make money, I want to make it fast, and I want to make it easy. So right from school, I took off and I went to New York. And the fellow that was giving me the interview at the employment agency said, well, you're from Kentucky, you must like animals. I said, animals are okay, can we get on with this interview? He said, how would you like to work for the ASPCA? I had no idea what he was talking about. I had never heard of an ASPCA. I thought it was an IBM or something like that. And I said, sounds like, tell me about it. He says, the place that takes care of mistreated, neglected, abused, unwanted pets. I said, sounds like a fine place, but why are you talking to me about that? I have absolutely no interest in that. He said, well, they need somebody to come into the nonprofit world, somebody who can do finances, budgets, and all that good kind of stuff. I said, sure, I could do this. I found out in a very short period of time I couldn't do it. In seven months, I lost 25 pounds. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I was tormented by what I was witnessing every day. The ASPCA, a much different place today than it was back in the 60s. But back then in New York City, they were killing 140,000 animals a year. There was no discrimination, made no difference. Cutest 8-week-old puppy, 8-week-old kitten, most magnificent golden retriever, or Siamese cat. It made no difference. The holding period was 24 hours. If nobody adopted the pet or claimed the pet in 24 hours, they were killed. I will not take away their dignity and say they were humanely euthanized, because they weren't. They were killed. They were thrown 15, 16 at a time into these big crates, rolled into these high-altitude decompression chambers where all the oxygen was sucked out of their beautiful bodies. That's what they were doing to these pets that everybody claimed they loved so much. I won't even get into what the street gangs would be doing to pets, because I don't want to ruin your day. But I would get what's left. I couldn't take anymore. An insurance company made me a very lucrative offer to leave the A and run their New York City branches, and I was failing. There was a guy up there that said, no, I have different plans for your life. And he was about to reveal it to me. I was marking my calendar to die. I was down to 6 days before I was to leave, and they came to me and said, Mike, there's a dog hit by a car, Davidson Avenue in the Bronx. I said, okay, get the driver out and get it. They said, that's just it, Mike. There are no drivers available, and the folks coming in, this one's in bad shape. I did just what you would have done, no different. I just took off my suit jacket, put on a uniform jacket, took the ambulance out myself. When I got to Davidson Avenue, this little black and tan terrier mix looked just like Benji from the movies, but he was bent almost backwards and higher. The car that hit him with such force, snapped his back and left him there to die. When I got into the ambulance, I'm standing above this little one. He's shaking so badly from fear and pain. Just as I'm about to reach down to him, these 3 fellas came out of the apartment building doorway and said, what do you think you're doing? I said, it's obvious this one's dying. I'm taking this to the hospital. They said, no, you're not taking it anywhere. I said, why? Is this your dog? They said, no, we're betting on how long it's going to live. So I said, well, you guys are really sick. So I reached down, I scooped this little up, and I'm holding him cradled in my arms. He's shaking so vehemently I thought he was going to fall. So I just looked down at him, and he was staring into my eyes as if he was staring right into my soul. And he held me spellbound for those seconds in time, and his body just started to relax as if to say, I feel safe now. And then just as I turned to reach for the ambulance door handle, that's when these three fellas beat me from behind, stabbed me, and laid me in the street. Now the roles are completely reversed. I'm the one lying dying in the street that day. That's when I found the compassion that these magnificent pets have for us that we as human beings will never be able to emulate. That little one that should not have been able to move by any shape of imagination found a way to crawl to my side, and he started to lick me back to consciousness. He would not give up on me until I opened my eyes again. And when I opened my eyes, I was staring into his beautiful brown eyes. I laid in that street, and I cried, and I prayed, don't do it. Don't take my life today. Give me another chance. I promise you I'll devote my life to them. Well, seconds, not minutes, but seconds after I made that promise, my friend just gently closed his eyes, and he crossed over Rainbow Bridge. And I know in my heart of hearts, he waits for me. So someday we'll take our walk together was meant to be. But from that day to now, I have helped facilitate saving more than 25 million orphan pets. I take what I do very seriously. It's not a game for me. It's not a hobby for me. I strongly believe that we were put on this magnificent planet to share it with them. I strongly believe that we're supposed to be the compassionate, intelligent beings on this planet, and we have an obligation to protect them and care for them. And that's my story.
Well, Mike, this is why I love talking to people. That is probably the most moving story of anyone and why they're involved with pets I've ever heard. I have so many questions following that. I hope they got those guys. I know that was a very long time ago, but you know, it's just a testament to how things have changed. As decades go by, things change, and you think about a moment in time in the 60s, and if you just think about that moment in time and now, it is leaps and bounds different than what you experienced. But that's because of people like you. And so as a animal lover and a pet lover and somebody who is in this space trying to do good things, I thank you for coming ahead and pioneering the road for a lot of people to be able to do what they love and to have this passion for animals. So before we even keep going, thank you. Thanks for everything that you have done. I'm very glad that you are sitting here talking to me today.
It's my pleasure. Anything to do to help more animals, I'm always going to be there for.
I love it. So how did you get involved with the Helen Woodward Center?
After I left the ASPCA, I went to a place called Nurture Animal League America.
Okay.
When I went there, they were doing 50 adoptions a week. And in 11 years, I had them up to doing 850 adoptions a week, 42,000 adoptions a year, the largest pet adoptions agency in the world. And then I decided, well, after 20 years there, I need to help other places. So I was doing consultant work in the US, Canada, and England. But it got too depressing seeing so many backwoods facilities. I couldn't sleep. So I said, I'll take on one more position. And I wound up here at Helen Woodward Animal Center. I came here under one condition. Not only would I enhance all of their programs, but that we have to turn this into a teaching institute, that people from all over the world can come and learn how to run the organization as a business, the business of saving lives. You cannot run a business with your heart, but you have to have a heart for the business in order to save. Too many animals in this country lose their lives because they run like mom and pop candy stores. They have to learn the pets already have our hearts, but it's our minds that they need. How do I market you and get you into a quality home as quickly as possible? And the quality home is the important part.
So tell me a little bit, what do you think in your background makes you so unique? Like, are you a marketing expert? Are you a finance expert? Like, what's your business savvy that you bring to the animal space, the rescue space that's so critical?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. When I came here to Helen Woodward Animal Center, we really had no money in the bank. They had nothing. And the place was run down. And so now with the business mind and teaching them how to run a business, we probably have about $50, $60 million in the bank. We have brand new facilities. We have an education center that's going to open this Saturday, the ribbon cutting. That just cost $15 million, all paid for. We owe nothing. And the
That's
thing
amazing.
about it is I'm teaching marketing. You know, a lot of facilities, I'll just give you an example. A lot of facilities cry when it's kitten season, we have too many kittens. And I say, don't cry about it, stop whining. Don't put one kitten in a cage, put two kittens in a cage, give them the names Peanut Butter and Jelly, Bonnie and Clyde, Heckle and Jekyll, and watch when the families come in, they take Peanut Butter out of the cage and Jelly just looks at them. They can't leave Jelly behind. They'll adopt both of them and increase their adoptions 10% overall. And use your minds on marketing. You might not have $1 million advertising budget, but you definitely have intelligence. My favorite marketing story was when Animal Services here in San Diego called me up and they said, Mike, we have a 9-year-old Rottweiler that just gave birth to 6 puppies. We're not going to be able to keep her. We don't have a foster home. If you don't take her, we're going to have to euthanize her and the babies. I said, of course we're going to take her. So I sent Labette down there, and Labette comes back with this 9-year-old Rottweiler and 6 puppies and says, okay, Mike, now that we have her, what are we going to do with her? I said, we're going to run a story about her. She said, what media is going to be interested in a 9-year-old Rottweiler giving birth to 6 puppies? I say, if you say it that way, none. But that's not what the headline read. The headline read, 63-year-old gives birth to 6 triplets. The media was all over the place. I had no problem with getting attention to her and getting her babies and her all spayed and adopted. We need to use our minds. We need to be, I don't get it. I got to tell you right now, I don't go into this free pets. I'm not part of Clear the Shelters. I am against it because I will not devalue my pets. When retailers give away something for nothing, they call it trinkets and trash. Well, my pets are not trinkets and trash. And if you're waiting for that one day so you can get it free, you're not the type of person I want to come here to begin with.
So I have news for you, Mike. I've been a marketer. My real job outside of doing this is marketing. I'm a CMO, and you're a marketer, my friend. I don't know what other people are going to tell you that you do for a living, but I will tell you, you are a certified PhD in marketing, because putting 2 cats in there and naming them Peanut Butter and Jelly, that is one of the best marketing campaigns I've heard, because I'll tell you, I take them 2 at a time. I mean, when I take one, I take the siblings. If there's 2, I'm taking them. I'm never going to split up a family. I can't do it. But that is marketing genius right there. That is something I can tell you. I've talked to a lot of, I'm sitting here thinking about all the rescues and sanctuaries that I work with and thinking, man, could they learn a lot just from this 11-minute conversation that we've had so far? Because they do get on and say, it's kitten season. We're drowning in kittens. We have too many kittens. Come get kittens. I don't think anyone would turn away 2 adorable kittens named Peanut Butter and Jelly or Bonnie and Clyde. I just think that's genius. And I always say, especially with kittens. So I'm a cat lady, Mike. I am a crazy cat lady. And I will tell you that it's always kitten season, and there's never too many kittens. And if I wasn't married, I would take them all. My husband has said we have a limit, and the limit has been met a couple times over at this point, but that's okay. I'll keep pushing the boundaries there. But that's genius. That's just genius. And I think a lot of sanctuaries and shelters could learn a lot just from that. So how are you so Education Center opens in a couple days. That's really exciting. How are you getting the word out, and how can people learn? Is it an online? Is it come in person? Is it all of the above? Like, how are you guys thinking about that?
Well, the Education Center that are opening is for children. We have 2,500 children that come here. They go to camp here. They learn all about sharing the earth with animals. I see them grow up. I see at least 5 a year that have come here through kidder camp, then work part-time, through high school and college. I see 5 a year go off to college. My education for adults, we have every 6 months, we have a 3-day conference here where we teach shelters how to market, how to fundraise, how to do finances, how to use proper public relations, social media, everything from A to Z in the animal shelter world. The one thing we don't do is we don't charge. There's no fee for it. It's my way of giving back. Then we do this all the time. We have 1-day workshops where if any facility anywhere in the world can bring 100 organizations together with volunteers and staff, we will fly there at our own expense, pay all our own expenses. You don't pay us anything. We will come teach marketing, fundraising, social media, public relations, all on our dime. We just want to share best practices because I'm living proof that it can be done, but it has to be done the right way. And let me just give you another hint about cat adoptions here for a cat lady. All the shelters will tell you at the end of the month or the week, they have too many black cats and nobody wants a black cat. So the marketing I tell them to do is do a promotion, me and my shadow. You adopt a cat and you get a black cat to go with it, and it cleans out all of your black cats.
I have a black cat and he's super sweet. He's the second black cat. All my black cats are super sweet. They get a bad rap, I think. They're super cute and they're super sweet. And I think that's a great promo. It's a great promo. Works. It's like a little BOGO, a cute little BOGO in the marketing world, we would call it. I love it. So tell me, this center sounds just so amazing. So what do you think, if you had to pick like the greatest achievement for the Helen Woodward Animal Center, what would you say it is?
I'd say it's been being able to teach organizations all over the world how to run it as a business. I've been to Estonia, I've been to Poland, I've been to, where was I last time? I was in Australia, New Zealand, every place you can think of, teaching these organizations, having their light bulbs go off that, hey, this is a business. It has to be run as a business. And I think ever since we've been doing this here at the center, in fact, I was just in Vegas about a month ago at the expo, and I had this one girl came up with tears in her eyes, and she said, do you know that we wouldn't be in existence today if it wasn't for you and how you teach us to turn things around? I do this all the time, every day. I'm on so many different boards. I read financials. I help them with their situations. It's working together. It's not one individual. It's people that care enough about it and work together. And that's what we brought together, that we can bring these organizations together and we can open up communications between all of them so they can help each other to get out of this situation.
What would you say your core mission is at Helen Woodward? Is it actually, I mean, you're an active working shelter, right? You're taking animals in and you're doing all of that. But you've got this huge component, this education component, which I want to go back and talk a little bit more about the kids' education because I have a couple questions on that. But what would you say the core mission is? And did it start out having all this education component, or is that something you brought to the Helen Woodward Foundation?
I brought it to where it should be. Some of it was here. But the biggest thing that I teach, Helen Woodward Animal Center, is the facility of the future. We have a 32,000 square foot adoption center with a clinic right in the middle of it, and it's just for the orphaned animals. Then I have a small animal practice that's open to the public, so the revenue from there goes to help the orphaned animals. I have a boarding facility called Club Pet. It nets about $700,000 a year that helps the orphans to get all the services they need. I have an equine hospital. All the revenue we raise from it goes to help orphan pets. I have a retail store. And where we are in Rancho Santa Fe, you don't put in a thrift store. You just can't do that. So I named it Orphaned Objects. So it fits right in with everything that we do. And that little store, it's 6,000 square feet, that little store takes in $90,000 a month for revenue to help the pets. It's all business. And I want them to learn when they come here and they see it, you can see how their mouth drops open. You can hear about it, but to see it taking action, taking place, then it gives them something to try to achieve. And we help them with steps by steps. Every one of the people that do the workshops here give everybody their business card. We help them write press releases. We help them put spins on stories. We help them with their finances, how to do their budgets. It's so important. And, you know, all these years I've seen working in this industry for so many years, I see these places that run themselves as mom and pop candy stores. The people that work in these facilities are so underpaid, and it's a revolving door. They can't stay. They can't afford to stay in this business. I don't treat my people like that. I take all the wage and salary surveys I do for animal welfare, and I put them in the shredder, because it's an underpaid industry to begin with. And if you're going to keep those wage surveys, you're going to keep the people underpaid. We lose so many good people in this industry because they can't afford to stay in it. And that has to change. It's like they're saying we're doing something wrong. We should be underpaid and mistreated. That's so good.
So the Helen Woodward Animal Center started decades ago. Did it start out this way? Did it start out as basically a sanctuary or a rescue, and then you've added all of these different components to it? Or what was the original intent of the animal center?
Two real components, adoptions and education. They did have an equine hospital, but they didn't know how to run it, so it was a losing money. They did have a small animal practice that they had to rent to somebody else because they couldn't run it properly. The only thing I brought different to them was a business model. My heart is pure animals. My mind is pure business.
I love it. I think you and I are wired very similarly, Mike. And again, right. I'm just going to tell you straight up, you're a marketer. And next time someone asks you, what's your a specific trade, you only have one answer. Okay. So tell me, you just told me that it's basically a facility for the future. Where do you see the Helen Woodward Animal Center in 5 years?
Well, much bigger than it is now, and more training to other organizations. You know, you can go anywhere and find an adoption center, but that adoption center is not going to have an equine hospital. You can go anywhere and find an equine hospital, but they're not going to have a boarding facility. You can find a boarding facility they're not going to have a therapeutic riding for physically and mentally challenged children. You can find these different things where you're not going to find them all in one place. We're all for everybody. I consider ourselves the facility of the future. When you want to grow up, learn how to grow up, and then set your goals. We help you put your business plans together to get where you need to go.
What do you think resonates when you tell people, let's say you're at a cocktail party and you tell people, this is what I do. What do you think resonates about the Helen Woodward Animal Center that resonates to people that aren't in this space, like you and I are in this space? What do you think connects to people?
Well, the biggest thing when people ask me what I do for a living, my answer is easy. I save lives for a living. That's what I do. I take these orphan pets, we fix them. You know, we don't euthanize here. This is how serious we take it. If we can't do the surgery here because it's a $28,000 surgery, needs a specialist, we send it to be done. A lot of shelters, if they have a pet that's abusive, aggressive, and they have to be careful with it, we get those because 97% of all the animals that come to the center come from high kill shelters. We work with 40 different rescue groups, letting them pull the animals out and bring them to us. So every now and then you'll get one that after a couple of weeks, it shows its behavior, it's bad. I'll have to train or work with it for 6 months to a year. And if he comes back and says, Mike, it's really going to hurt somebody, I don't take its life. I find a sanctuary and pay for its life to live out naturally in a sanctuary. That's how serious we take it. And that's what we have to teach others. You can do it. They all cry, well, I don't have money. I can't do this. Well, dadgummit, learn how to make money. Learn how to run a business. My education center, my critter camp, that'll net about $800,000 a year. I'm being paid to teach children what they need to know about sharing this beautiful planet. If you ever saw it, it would just blow your mind. There's nothing like it anywhere in the world.
Well, it's going to go on the list of, we sometimes go on location, Mike, and do like a separate, we have a show called Tales from the Road, and we go on the road and we visit places. And I'm definitely putting it on the list of potential places I would love to see. And I would really love to see, I think this idea of educating kids, I find this to be one of the unspoken, underfunded, under-communicated problems. I think we just assume we're going to put a baby with a little puppy and everything's going to be great. I don't think we talk enough about educating kids on how to be around pets, because oftentimes, I don't know the exact percentage, you probably do, but I think when you label an animal aggressive because they've done something, it's typically brought on because a little person didn't know not to pull the tail, not to get in its face. I mean, I'll give you a real life grown-up example. I am an animal lover, have been my whole life. My best friend had a German Shepherd. We were out in a public space. It was very busy, very, very busy. And he was getting nervous, and I could tell he was getting nervous. And we had stopped on the side, and my husband had gone into the business behind us to go to the bathroom. And so we were just stopped there, and he was getting very nervous. And I thought, I'm going to give him a hug and make him feel better. I am a grown woman who works around animals and is around animals all the time. And I stuck my face in that German Shepherd's face. And guess what? He was protecting himself, and he nipped me in the face. And as soon as my husband came out, I had my girlfriend put her glove, it was winter, up on my face because I was bleeding. And my husband said, "Oh Lord, I was in there for 5 minutes. What did you do?" And I said, "I stuck my face in the dog's face. It's not his fault." And of course, my husband was like, "Of course it's not his fault. You shouldn't have done that. You know better than that." You can't be mad at the dog for that. I'm the dum-dum. I'm the one that stuck my face in his face. And I was I was coming from a good place. He knows me. Doesn't matter when they're in a different environment, when they're scared, dogs will react differently, but it's 100%. I find it to be 100% on us when we do stupid things like that. And little people that haven't been taught not to do those things, they sit on them, they pull them, they tug them. They don't know any different. And then the animal reacts, and then the animal is bad. And so I think teaching little people how to behave around animals is critical. And we don't do it. We just bring a dog into the house and here's our dog. Everything's fine. And I just don't think that's the right way to do this.
Yeah, we are so advanced in teaching children. It's not only about sharing the earth with dogs and cats. We have goats, we have sheep, we have chicken, we have hissing cockroaches, we have snakes. We teach them about everything. But this is how serious I am about it. We're not going to change tomorrow unless we start with the children of today. In the last 18 months, I had the distinct honor to speak at the United Nations in New York, offering our services to teach any country in the world that wants to become more humane and put humane education into their programs. We will come at our own expense and teach. I just had 2 people in India about 7 months ago teaching humane education in the universities. Now 5 universities have picked it up. They want them to come back and teach them more. This is how serious I am about, if we want to change the world for these pets, we need to start with the children today. They will teach their parents because their parents are so closed-minded because that's the way they've been taught. But now if their children come home and say, this is the way it should be done, we have a better chance.
How young do you take kids into the education center? How little can you bring someone in?
4 years old. From
4 years old, okay.
To 13. This is how it goes, from 4 to 13. But then we need junior volunteers to help with the little ones, because on any day we could have 150, 200 children here. So we have 200 of the junior volunteers that went to critter camp when they were younger. They volunteer to come back and help the little ones learn what they've learned.
And what would you say if I don't have access, if I don't live by you and I don't have access, if I was going to bring a new puppy into my house with a 4 or 5 year old, what are a couple tips you can give some of our viewers on what they should do and what they should make sure their kids know?
I think the biggest thing that we have to do is teach them that this is a pet. This is a living thing. This is not a toy. You don't wind it up. You don't wind up their tail and make them run. You have to show compassion. We're supposed to be intelligent. We send our children to school for how many years? To learn, to behave, to have manners. But we think a dog should learn that in just minutes, that they should be so educated to sit right, to sleep right, at the same time, not be possessive of food and everything else. If we put the same training into our pets, just 100th of what we do with our children, our pets would be well behaved. People get frustrated because they don't give the pet any time, but they think it should know everything. How smart are we with doing that? So I think the parents should learn that they should teach compassion. There's so many books, there's so many tapes out there on bringing a puppy home, introducing a puppy, how to paper train it and how to break it, and be behavior trained. There's so many out there, but we need to take the time to sit and learn. Before we get a pet, I would like to see, before we license pets, that we license people to own a pet, that they would have to go to classes to properly take care of a pet before they can adopt one. Will that happen? No, but that's what I'd like to see. It'd
save a lot. I'm always surprised at how many people rehome pets because of things like this. And I just don't think people understand what you're getting them for life. That's your commitment. It's very stressful for them when they go home to home or, person to person. It's not great. So yeah, I definitely think that's number one rule when you adopt an animal out is like, this is your animal forever. May not be for your whole life, but you're theirs for their whole life.
And we have to be very clear about that. We just can't let people, there's a new trend amongst these major organizations now, not even to screen potential adopters. If they come in, they want the pet, just let them have it. Well, that's what the pet shop's been doing for all these years, and that's why we got into the mess that we got into. We properly screen you. When you come here, you're going to be here for at least 3 hours before anything's done. We're going to screen you. We're going to learn about your habits when you had a pet before. I don't want to know about your parents' pet because your parents aren't going to have the pet. I want to know what you know about the pet. And we watch. They're under observation by us. We watch them with their children, and they're in the play field, how they're telling their children not to pull the tail, not to pull their ears. They're under observation. We have an obligation to these pets to put them in a better place than where they came from.
How many pets do you have at home?
Right now, I only have 2. I have a 3-legged Malinois and a Shepherd mix that was rescued from Mexico. So I have those 2. I've had as many as 5 dogs and 9 cats at one given time, but I travel, and that's just an excuse. I do travel quite a bit, but my pets are well taken care of.
I don't know how you're in there.
Cats, but the Malinois won't allow cats to come into the house. But when I had all my cats, my dogs love for me to come home. My cats allowed me to come home. A truer statement has never been said, Mike. My cats allow me, and they couldn't care less. When I travel, they're like, oh, great, she's back. I do have one. Her name is Gigi, and she's very attached. And so when I come home, she'll park herself on me at all times because she's afraid I'm going to leave again. But the rest of them don't care. They're just like, oh, great, she's back. My cats are well taken care of when I'm gone as well. My father lives with us, my husband and I, and my father babies these cats better than I do. So they're almost like, oh, she's back. That means we're going to get less treats, less food, because Poppy really makes sure they get
all the treats, all the food. They get all the love. But they don't really care when I'm gone.
And one of the major things I tell when I'm doing these workshops and conferences, I'll be in New Mexico and I'll be in New York at the Hamptons to assess a facility out there next Friday and Saturday. Then the following month, I'll be in New Mexico. Then the following month after that, I'll be in Seattle. But one thing I tell people, and I mean this with all my heart, I don't like people to tell me that they love pets. And I tell them very clearly, what does that mean? The word love is the most overused word in the human vocabulary. It doesn't mean anything anymore. I love dogs. I love shoes. I love that movie. I love that actor. I love that meal. I love that. I love, 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 love. When is the last time you looked at your significant other? You looked at your child. You looked at your parents. When's the last time you looked at them and said, I care about you? I would much rather you tell me that you care about animals, because the word care has not lost its significance and it has meaning. So now I get letters from people and they say, I care.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Who's your role model? If you could pick one person, Mike, in your life, or that you've read, or just anybody that you think, man, that's somebody that I really look up to, who would that be?
Henry Berg.
Every bird?
Henry Berg.
Henry Bird. Okay. Tell me a little bit about him.
B-E-R-G-H. Henry Berg.
Okay.
He started the ASPCA in 1866 after he went to London and he saw how they treated pets over there more carefully. And then he came back to the United States. If you ever have a chance to read the book, Angel in the Top Hat, you will learn all about Henry Berg and what he did and how he started the humane world in the United States.
That is amazing. And I should have known that. I didn't know that person's name. I'm going to look that up. That's great. Mike, this has been one of the most interesting podcast interviews I have done. You have saved 25 million lives. That counts, my friend. That is a big deal. And as someone who cares deeply about pets, I thank you for all of the hard work. If people want to know more about the Helen Woodward Animal Center, where can they go?
Just go to animalcenter.org, comes right to us, and we answer every email that we get and every question. And anybody that wants to come to our workshops for free, the door is always open. We have sponsors that pay for their lunches and everything. All they have to do is get here and we'll teach them the right way to develop.
I love this. We're going to spread the word. Mike Arms, thank you very much. We're going to spread the word. And if you are watching this podcast, or if you're watching Buddies Besties right now and you are a sanctuary or a rescue and you want to know more about any of those workshops, please go to the website animalcenter.org. Thank you so very much, Mike. To our viewers, thank you very much. And remember, adopt, don't shop.